Did you know there's a cheese in Sardinia called casu marzu that's actually banned in both the European Union and the USA? This isn't just any cheese. It's made from sheep's milk and literally filled with live maggots. And it's not just exotic foods causing a stir. Ever heard of flamin' hot Cheetos? The most popular snack across the world is now facing restrictions in California public schools. But why? Because parents are increasingly worried that the artificial dyes in popular snacks could affect kids' development. A proposed regulation would ban foods containing 6 specific dyes, including titanium dioxide. And Flamin' Hot Cheetos contain 3 of them: red 40, yellow 5, and yellow 6. A 2021 study conducted by the California Environmental Protection Agency found that consuming synthetic food dyes may lead to hyperactivity and other neurological behaviors in some children. In this video, Talk Secrets dives into snacks and foods that are banned in the US. From sassafras oil to konjac jelly candy, we'll uncover 15 items you won't find in most parts of the country, starting off with Kinder Surprise eggs. Kinder Surprise eggs are produced by forming an egg-shaped shell made of milk chocolate on the outside and white chocolate on the inside. Before sealing the 2 chocolate halves together, manufacturers place a small plastic capsule inside the shell containing a toy and assembly instructions. The egg is then cooled, wrapped in foil, and packaged for sale. While Kinder Surprise eggs are popular in many countries, they are banned in the United States under a 1938 federal law that forbids non-nutritive, inedible objects from being embedded in food products. But in some cases, the danger isn't hidden inside a toy. It's the food itself. Fresh ackee. Fresh ackee, Bligia sapida, is a tropical fruit originally from West Africa and a staple in Caribbean cooking, especially in Jamaica, where it is famously featured in the national dish ackee and saltfish. However, it is banned or heavily restricted in the United States because unripe ackee contains high levels of a toxin called hypoglycin A. Eating the unripe fruit can cause severe vomiting, dangerously low blood sugar, coma, and even death. The fruit becomes safe to eat only when it ripens naturally and the pod splits open on the tree, with the red membrane around the seeds removed. Because it's difficult to guarantee this safety in fresh imports, the FDA strictly limits its sale in the US. And some foods go even further, shocking the world with what they contain. Casu marzu. Casu marzu, also spelled casu marzu, is a traditional sheep's milk cheese from Sardinia, known for its unusual and controversial feature: live fly maggots. These maggots are intentionally introduced to speed up fermentation, breaking down the fats in the cheese and giving it an extremely soft, almost creamy texture with a very strong, pungent flavor. Often nicknamed rotten cheese, it's famous for its intense taste with the live maggots. Because of the serious health concerns linked to eating it, the cheese gained worldwide attention and was labeled by Guinness World Records in 2009 as the world's most dangerous cheese. The Food and Drug Administration, FDA, does not allow foods that contain live insects or parasites to be sold, as they are considered unsafe for people to eat. Not all banned foods are about gross-out factors. Some are restricted because of cultural and ethical concerns. Kangaroo meat. Indigenous communities in Australia have relied on kangaroo meat for thousands of years. Over time, kangaroo products, including meat and leather, entered international markets, including the United States. However, growing concerns in the late 20th century about animal welfare, commercial hunting practices, and potential threats to kangaroo populations sparked political action. In response, then California Governor Ronald Reagan signed legislation in 1970 banning the sale of kangaroo meat and leather within the state, a law that officially took effect in 1973. The ban reflected broader environmental and ethical concerns of the era, even as kangaroo populations in Australia continued to be closely monitored and regulated. And it's not just exotic meats. Some traditional dishes from Europe are off-limits for very specific reasons. Haggis. Haggis is a traditional Scottish dish made from minced sheep's organs, typically the heart, liver, and lungs, combined with oatmeal, onions, fat, and spices. The mixture is usually cooked inside a sheep's stomach and is most famously served with neeps and tatties, mashed turnips and potatoes, especially during Burns Night celebrations, though it's enjoyed throughout the year. Haggis is prohibited in the United States because it includes sheep's lung, an ingredient the U.S. Department of Agriculture has banned for human consumption since 1971. According to food safety regulations, fluids such as stomach acid and mucus can enter the lungs during the slaughter process, increasing the risk of harmful bacteria and contamination. While some bans focus on safety, others are based on concerns about how animals are treated. Foie gras. Foie gras, which means fatty liver in French, is made from the liver of a duck, usually, or sometimes a goose. The birds are intentionally overfed through a process called gavage, which causes their livers to grow much larger than normal, sometimes up to 10 times their usual size. This results in a liver that is extremely high in fat, often over 50% of its weight. Foie gras is banned or restricted in certain parts of the U.S., including California, and there have been past attempts to ban it in New York City. These restrictions are largely due to concerns about animal welfare, as the force-feeding process, gavage. Many critics consider this method cruel and inhumane. Similarly, cultural views can determine what's acceptable to eat and what's considered taboo. Horse meat. Horse meat is consumed in several parts of the world, including Europe, Asia, and South America. In the United States, however, horse meat is mostly banned or heavily restricted. This is partly because horses are widely seen as companion animals rather than livestock, creating a strong cultural taboo. There are also safety concerns, since horses are sometimes given veterinary drugs like phenylbutazone that can be harmful if ingested. On top of that, the absence of a regulated slaughter industry and ethical objections to killing horses contribute to the restrictions. Food laws also get very strict when certain ingredients are considered unsafe. Black pudding. Black pudding is a traditional blood sausage made from animal blood, usually pork fat, or beef suet, and cereals like oats or barley mixed with onions and seasoned with salt, pepper, and spices such as coriander, mace, or allspice, then stuffed into casings. Its dark color and rich, savory flavor set it apart from other types of sausage. In the United States, black pudding is heavily restricted due to food safety regulations. A 1970s USDA law prohibits the use of animal lungs in food, which are included in many traditional British and Irish recipes. Additionally, the use of blood as a main ingredient raises safety concerns, leading to strict import regulations. Fresh black pudding from the UK cannot be imported, although some canned or specially prepared versions, as well as US-made black pudding using USDA-approved facilities, are allowed. Domestic producers often substitute lungs with other ingredients to comply with regulations, making black pudding available, but still relatively rare in the US. And even sweet treats aren't always safe. Some popular snacks can pose serious risks. Konjac jelly candy. Konjac jelly candies are made from the starchy root, or corm, of the konjac plant, Amorphophallus konjac, also known as elephant yam or devil's tongue. The key ingredient, glucomannan, is a dietary fiber extracted from the root that gives the candies their unique bouncy, gelatin-like texture without any animal products. In 2001, the FDA issued a warning about the choking risks associated with konjac candies after several deaths and near-fatal incidents were reported among children and elderly consumers. The warning specifically referenced products marketed as mini cup gels, mini fruity gels, and similar small jelly candies that pose a high risk if swallowed whole. But some foods are dangerous in a completely different way. One small mistake can be fatal. Japanese pufferfish, fugu. The Japanese pufferfish known as fugu, takifugu rubripes, is a traditional delicacy in Japan admired for its subtle flavor, but feared for the powerful toxin it contains. Certain organs of the fish carry tetrodotoxin, a highly dangerous poison that can cause paralysis and has no known antidote. Because of this serious risk, fugu is not completely banned in the United States, but is placed under strict regulation. The FDA heavily restricts its import and service, allowing it only through specially licensed and closely inspected importers and chefs who meet rigorous safety requirements. Personal importation is strictly forbidden, and the fish is listed for automatic detention to prevent unsafe handling or accidental poisoning. Beyond individual safety, some foods are banned because of the impact they have on animals and the environment. Shark fins. Shark fins are most commonly consumed in East and Southeast Asia, mainly in the form of shark fin soup, which has long been seen as a luxury dish. China has historically been the largest market for shark fins and also plays a major role in shark fishing, processing, and re-exporting. However, the demand for fins has led to a deeply inhumane practice known as shark finning, in which sharks have their fins cut off, often while still alive, and are then thrown back into the ocean, where they die from suffocation or starvation. It is estimated that tens of millions of sharks are killed each year for this trade. In the United States, shark fins are banned to help end this cruel and wasteful practice, protect declining shark populations, and preserve marine ecosystems. The ban also addresses health concerns, as shark fin products can contain high levels of mercury and harmful toxins that pose risks to consumers. And in some cases, it's not just about ethics or ecology. The preparation of a food itself can be considered cruel. Ortolan. The ortolan bunting, Emberiza hortolana, is a tiny migratory songbird that spends its summers across Europe and Western Asia and flies to West Africa, including countries like Mali and Guinea, for the winter. In France, especially in the southwestern region of Landes, it's known as a rare and traditional delicacy, though it's also deeply controversial. The way the ortolan is prepared is considered cruel. The birds are trapped, often kept in darkness, and force-fed until they become fat. They are then drowned in Armagnac brandy, roasted, and eaten whole under a napkin, a ritual meant to hide from God while consuming them. Because of this inhumane practice and the sharp decline in their numbers, the bird has been protected and banned in the EU since 1979, and in France specifically since 1999. In the United States, it's illegal to import, sell, or eat the ortolan, even though it's not native, in order to prevent illegal trade and protect this endangered species from further decline. Luxury foods can be banned too, sometimes to protect the species from extinction. Beluga caviar. Beluga caviar, made from the large, delicate eggs of the beluga sturgeon, huso, is one of the world's most luxurious and expensive foods. Its creamy, buttery texture and subtle, nutty flavor, along with colors ranging from light silver gray to deep charcoal, make it highly prized by chefs and food lovers alike. However, beluga caviar is banned in the United States because the beluga sturgeon is critically endangered. Overfishing and their slow reproductive cycle, taking 15 to 20 years to mature, have caused wild populations to drop dramatically by around 90% since 1985. To protect the species, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service prohibited imports of wild beluga caviar in 2005. Other bans come from health concerns, sometimes dating back decades, even centuries. Sassafras oil. Sassafras oil comes from the root bark of the sassafras tree, Sassafras albidum, and is extracted through steam distillation. It contains about 90% safrole, a compound that was once popular for adding flavor to foods and in traditional remedies. In the past, sassafras oil was commonly used in root beer and herbal teas. However, because safrole has been found to cause cancer, the FDA banned its use in food in 1960. Today, sassafras oil is tightly regulated, both for safety reasons and because it can be used to make illegal drugs like MDMA. And finally, some everyday foods that seem normal can still be restricted in the U.S., often for safety reasons. Raw milk. Just like certain cheeses made with unpasteurized milk, raw milk is mostly restricted in the United States. Health officials warn that raw milk can carry harmful bacteria that may cause serious illness, which is why it isn't approved for sale across state lines. Because the FDA doesn't allow or regulate interstate sales, raw milk can't be sold nationwide. Some states still permit people to buy it directly from farms, farmers markets, or select stores, but many others ban it completely, creating very different rules depending on where you live. These foods aren't shown to shame anyone. They're just to explore what's banned in the U.S. We respect why people eat them and why some are restricted. Food tells stories about culture, history, and traditions, so stay curious and enjoy what you eat. If you liked this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment which banned food surprised you the most.